Hey, welcome to the second lesson of the course. Now it's time to create this building. So this is really simple. Just take a cube and let's place it over here. And let's change the size. First, let's start with 100 on each side. Okay, we can start from there. And let's see. Let's make it a little wider, like that. Okay, take it up a little. Let's make it just a little bit higher. All right, now let's go back to our normal view, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to open the model layout so that we have these tools, the bevel and the extrude, and let's make this cube editable so that we can model. Now change the selection to polygon mode, so you can take all these faces. And first, take this face, this top part, and select this extrude inner. Now click here and move to the left until you have something like this. You can see that we have now a smaller square here, okay, like this. And now with this selection, don't lose this selection, select extrude and change the offset to 0 and click on new transform. Now move this up a little bit. Let's see on the camera. Okay, this is good, like this. And again, take the extrude inner and click on the to the left, like this. Now again, go to extrude, click on new transform, but this time instead of moving to the top, instead go lower, so you can create sort of like a roof here. Okay, like this. Now one more time, take the extrude inner and create a shape like this, like a really thin rectangle, just like this. And one more time, take the extrude, click on new transform and move this a little bit so that it stands out like this. Alright, now to finish this, select the scale tool and scale this down like this to create some sort of like peak here on the building. Alright, this is perfect. Now we can go back to our standard layout, and if you take a look here, you can see that we have two different colors. We have two different materials for this part. This one is pink and this one is purple. So right now this is just one shape. So if I take one material and drop it here, we will have everything on this tone. So what I want is to separate this object so that separate this selection so that we can add a different material here. So if we want to do that, just grab your live selection tool and take all the parts of this shape like this. Alright, and go to select, and you will click here on set selection. Now you will have this orange rectangle, the orange triangle, which is the polygon selection tag. Now we can call this polygon selection, we can call this building top. And here's what this does. If I have, let's create a different material which can be like this color. If I move this material, this like purple material, to the building, everything will be this color. Now I want this peak to be green, so I will take this cube, this material, and drop it here. But you can see that everything goes in the same material. So if I want to make this only this peak this color, all I have to do is to select the material here on the objects panel, and you can see that we have a space called selection. If I drop this selection tag here, the building top, you can see that it now paints only this point. So that's how we can create a single shape with different tones of materials. So we can delete all of this now because we're not going to need it, but save your polygon selection tool. Alright, now it's time to create the windows, and to do that we're going to create some cubes, and we're going to change the size a lot to create some windows. Let's place them on one side. These are very flat, of course. Okay, take it here. Make it a little more square. Okay, now we have this, and you can create a different material for this so that we can see the difference between them. Alright, now I want to create several copies of this to create the windows. So I can do this manually, of course. I can just duplicate and create a few copies of this, but there's actually an easier way to do that, and it's with a cloner. So I'm going to take on MoGraph here and click on cloner to create a cloner, and I'm going to drop the cube into the cloner. Now you can see that it created some duplicates of this cube that I had. Let's move this where it belongs, and now let's play around with the cloner settings. For example, on mode, instead of linear, let's set it to grid array, so you will have this grid, but we don't need so many windows. So here we have the count, and on the count we have the X, the Y, and the Z axis. So on the Z axis we don't need anything, so we can set it to 0, and we can move this until they are stuck on the building like this, and we can play around with the separation of all of them. We can do this by clicking on these little yellow dots. We can narrow the space like this. Let's actually make this closer, just like this. Alright, we have our first set of windows, so we can duplicate this and take it above to the top part of the building, and of course we need to change the count. We don't need 3 on the y-axis, just 2. And let's change the separation. And we can even change the size of the cube just a little bit, like this. And now it's time to repeat some duplicates, change the rotation 90 degrees, and stick it to this part of the building, the left side. We don't need to create some duplicates here because we're not going to see it on the final render. Alright, we can take this closer and create one final duplicate here, and again change the size like this, change the cloner, and move it a little bit to the right. Alright, let's see how it looks. Alright, we have our building, it's complete. We just need to take all of these and group them and call this building. And now we're done with this lesson. So let's go to the next one.